Hello, my name is Brandon Butler. I am a student of Franklin University, and today I will be presenting a PowerPoint on cognitive development and later adulthood. This PowerPoint will go over cognitive development in later adulthood, biological influences, cognitive influences, cultural influences, environmental influences, social influences, applications to my career, conclusion, and references that are all in relation to Vygotsky's theory on cognitive development. Vygotsky's socioculture theory suggests that cognitive development continues throughout the lifespan and is shaped by social interactions and culture experiences. He proposes that during later adulthood, learning does not stop because simply of age alone. He proposes older adults continue to develop through meaningful relationships, participations within their communities, as well as lifelong learning experiences. Vygotsky recognizes that everybody goes through biological changes as we get older. His theory simply understands that through these changes that we are still able to maintain a healthy relationship through cognitive development, through social interactions and cultural experiences, and that continuation of participation in everyday activities, as well as communicating and still being socially active within your environment still can help prevent or slow down cognitive decline. Vygotsky proposes that cognitive development is a lifelong process rather than something that ends during childhood. He proposes that learning continues through communication, collaboration, and shared experiences with others. One misconception about aging is that older adults are unable to learn new skills because their cognitive development has stopped. Vygotsky's theory of cognitive development argues that this is not true and that older adults are very much capable of learning new technologies, developing hobbies, acquiring new knowledge, and adapting to changes all throughout life. Although some cognitive processes may become slower, experience and accumulated knowledge often compensate for these changes. Vygotsky emphasizes that learning occurs within environments, within conversations, within mentoring, within volunteering, and participation in the community, to where activities still continue to stimulate thinking and promote cognitive development throughout later adulthood. Culture plays a significant role when it comes to shaping how individuals experience aging and how the continuation of learning is maintained throughout life. Vygotsky proposes that culture provides the tools, values, and traditions that influence cognitive development. Different cultures have different beliefs about aging, independence, family involvement, and roles older adults play within society. One common misconception is that aging is experienced the same way regardless of culture. However, research has demonstrated that cultural beliefs can influence how older adults maintain or remain engaged within their communities and with their families. And cultures that highly value the wisdom and experiences of older adults, they often remain active contributors and continuing to learn through meaningful participation all throughout life. This highlights that cognitive development is influenced not only by individuals, but also by cultural environment surrounding them. According to Vygotsky, the environment has a huge influence when it comes to cognitive development. He recognizes that learning is influenced by interactions between individuals and their surroundings. A common misconception that he argues is that cognitive decline is caused by aging and that changes within the environment has little to no effect with the improvement of cognitive development. But in reality, supportive environments can greatly improve participation and quality of life. So things like accessible houses, safe communities, transportation, recreational programs, and opportunities for social engagement all encourage older adults to remain mentally active. Even simple environmental modifications can promote independence and participation in meaningful occupations. When individuals have access to stimulating environments that encourage interactions and lifelong learning, they are more inclined to maintain cognitive abilities and overall well-being despite the normal changes associated with aging. Social relationships are one of the strongest influences on cognitive development throughout later adulthood, according to Vygotsky's theory on cognitive development. He believes that learning occurs through interactions with other people. Making relationships essential across lifespan is important. A misconception is that older adults naturally become socially isolated because development stops with age. However, research suggests that maintaining meaningful relationships with family, friends, neighbors, and community organizations continue to support both cognitive function as well as emotional well-being in later adulthood. Social engagement encourages communication, problem solving, memory, and participation within these meaningful activities. These interactions provide opportunities to continue learning while reducing feelings of loneliness as well as isolation. So from Vygotsky's perspective, these social experiences are not simply beneficial, they are an essential part of how cognitive development continues all throughout lifehood. Understanding these concepts will directly influence how I approach my future career as an occupational therapist. Rather than simply assuming that older adults are limited by their age, I want to focus on each person's abilities, strengths, and potentials for continued growth. This means that using a person-centered care approach by considering each individual's culture, life experiences, environment, and support system when planning future interventions. It also means that promoting meaningful occupations that encourage engagement, participation, and independence. Environmental modifications and activity adaptations can help individuals remain involved within activities that are important to them while supporting cognitive function. Finally, understanding these misconceptions allows me to educate families and caregivers so they recognize that learning and development continues all throughout later adulthood. In conclusion, aging is a lifelong developmental process. And Vukowski's theory has shown us how biological, cognitive, cultural, environmental, and social factors all influence the development of cognitive development. So, by challenging misconceptions about aging, we can better recognize the strengths, abilities, and lifelong potential of older adults when it comes to cognitive development. So, as Vygotsky stated, through others, we become ourselves. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Here are the references that were used.